IGNOU MPS Political Science Political Theory Fascism Summary. This summary is useful for students who are preparing for the PSIR Optional in Civil Service. Fascism was one of the most significant political development of the 20th century, originating in Italy under Mussolini and later taking shape in Germany under Hitler. It represented an ideology that sought to simplify the complexities of political life through emotional appeals and rigid division between us and they. So it's a political development of the 20th century, originated in under Mussolini, later in Germany under Hitler. So it simplified the complexities of political life through emotional appeals, and there is a rigid division between us and they. Fascism was based on authoritarianism, nationalism, and intolerance. So it was based on authoritarianism, nationalism, and intolerance. Although it suffered military defeat after World War II, the spirit of fascism with its hostility to democracy and glorification of power continued to influence part of the modern world. It entered with the World War II, but the spirit still remained. Meaning and ideational profile. Defining fascism is difficult because its ideas are incoherent and drawn from multiple sources. It lacks a single theoretical text like Marx, thus Capital for Socialism. Fascist thinkers freely borrowed and distorted ideas from many traditions and showed what George Sabin called as a chemical indifference to intellectual honesty. Chemical indifference to intellectual honesty. However, certain core ideas can be identified. Statism. Glorification of the state as the supreme entity. Glorification of the state as the supreme entity. Racialism. Believe in racial hierarchy and superiority. Racialism. Militarism and imperialism. Expansion through force and conquest. Elitism. Ruled by a superior few. Irrationalism. Rejection of reason, logic, and science. These ideas were inspired by the mood of the revolt in the late 19th century Europe, influenced by social Darwinism and the belief that conflict and struggle were essential for progress. So it was inspired by the mood of revolt in the later 19th century Europe, influenced by social Darwinism and the belief that conflict and struggle were essential for progress. Now, the fascist worldview. Irrationalism. Fascism rejected reason and objective science, claiming that life's complexities could only be understood through instinct, emotion, and will. Life complexities could only be understood through instinct, emotion, and will. They rejected reason and objective science, and claiming that life complexities could only be understood through instinct, emotion, and will. Mussolini called reason as barren intellectualism, while Hitler argued followers feel, don't think. Truth fascists believed was subjective and only to the few gifted leaders. Fascists used myth and symbols to stir emotion, most notably the German myth of Volk, the spiritual unity of the people. Thinkers like Fichte, Sponhard, and Nietzsche were misused to promote irrationalism and collective passion. Racialism. Fascist racial theory was inspired by Arthur D. Gobineau, who argued that Aryans were the world's original superior race. Aryans were the world's original superior race. He claimed that racial mixing led to the decline of civilization and praised Germans as the purest Aryans. Thinkers like Richard Wagner and Houston Stewart Chamberlain popularized these ideas, combining them with the Teutonic mythology and irrationalism. Hitler adapted and expanded this theory, identifying Jews as the enemy of mankind and dividing humanity into culture-creating races, that is Aryan, culture bearing races, slaves, Latin and Orientals, culture destroying races, Jews, Gypsies and Negroes. For fascists, even science was conditioned by blood, and Hitler declared, "We think with our blood." Statism and the corporate state. The Volkisch idea of an organic community and Hegel theory of the state influenced fascist statism. Hegel viewed that state as the realization of reason and embodiment of the collective will. State as the realization of the reason and embodiment of collective will. Mussolini distorted this idea into totalitarianism, declaring everything for the state, nothing outside the state. Everything for the state, nothing outside the state. The state became absolute, the will of wills and soul of souls. Will of wills and soul of souls. It could demand total obedience, create right and demand sacrifice. Under Hitler, the state was seen as the instrument of racial destiny, serving the superiority of the German race. This concept led to the creation of corporate state, where all social and economic institutions were subordinated to central control. State as the instruments of rational destiny led to the creation of corporate state. Elitism. Fascism was based on inequality among individuals. Hitler and Mussolini argued that people differ in intelligence, strength and spirit, therefore only the elite, the strong, brave and royal should rule. People differ in intelligence, strength and spirit, only the elite, the strong, brave and loyal should rule. This justified dictatorship, rejection of democracy and leadership culture around the dust and fur. Operational dynamics of fascism. Totalitarianism of the right. Fascism served the interest of the elites. Elites means industrialist, landowners, military. It opposed socialism and communism but resembled them in its centralized one-party role. Centralization of power. All power was concentrated in the leader's hand. Local government and legislators were dismantled. Elections were meaningless. Fascist candidates won with over 99% vote. Single party rule. In Italy, Fascist Party and Germany, Nazi Party became the sole political institution. The party controlled the state, propaganda and social life. Italy, Fascist and Nazi. In Germany, the sole political institution. The party controlled the state, propaganda and social life. Absolute leadership, culture of the leader. The leader embodied the national will. Slogan like "the leader is party, the party is leader" expressed total identification of people, party and state. Hitler's Germany became false state and Mussolini was seen as the living spirit of Italy. Path to power. Unlike communities, fascists come to power legally, supported by traditional elites. The king in Italy and the president in Germany. They come in power legally. They retained existing institutions like the monarchy, army and business but brought them under party control. They retained the existing institution but retained under party control. Youth mobilization and propaganda. Fascism targeted the youth through organizations like Hitler Youth and Balilla. Education and propaganda trained citizens in obedience, nationalism and militarism. And fascism and challenges to contemporary life. Even after 1945, fascist idea persisted. Neo-fascist movement reappeared in Europe, notably in the British National Party under John Tyndall, exploiting economic recession and public frustration. This group revived fascist themes such as autarky, racial superiority, elitism and male dominance, primacy of the state over the individual. They also reinforced traditional views on women, echoing Joseph Goebbels' belief that women's mission was only to be beautiful and bear children. Their views, traditional women views is only to be beautiful and bear children. Fascism resurfaces whenever democracy failed to deliver stability, reviving the old us and they, yes they, between they, mentality that fueled racism, fundamentalism and intolerance. Modern terrorism, religious extremism and ethnic hatred, all rival traces of fascist temperament. Evolution of Fascism. Fascism was as Sabine called it an adventure of philosophy, irrational, cynical and violent. It borrowed ideas from great philosophers but distorted them for propaganda. They borrowed ideas from great philosophers but distorted them for propaganda. Mussolini, who once called the state a curse, later glorified it as a divine. In practice, fascism failed to modernize society. It preserved feudal and authoritarian structures, stifled creativity, and hindered economic progress. The International Encyclopedia of the Social Sciences noted that fascism strengthened individual anarchy and prevented modernization. Despite its failures, fascism retains mass appeal during crisis. Its organization style may attract people seeking quick solutions in times of instability. However, fascism denies the diversity and plurality of life. Human civilization thrives on freedom, tolerance, and coexistence. Hundreds of followers that make life beautiful. The rigid, intolerant, violent nature of fascism cannot nurture such harmony. The next chapter we will discuss in next video. Thank you.